Hi. Hi, I'm Alexander Harrington, Artistic Director of the 11th Hour Theater Company. In November, the 11th Hour and the internationally respected La Mama Experimental Theater Club will be presenting a new translation of Aeschylus' Agamemnon that I've written. Now, you might ask, why have I written a new translation of Agamemnon? Why does anyone need another translation of Agamemnon? My interest in Greek tragedy goes back to my reading Nietzsche's Birth of Tragedy. I know this sounds terribly academic, but stay with me, you'll see the point. In that book, Nietzsche argues that Greek choruses evolved out of ecstatic dances and songs performed in honor of Dionysus. Now, I've researched this. No one can tell for sure whether these dances and songs were actually religious rituals. But what is pretty certain is that Greek tragedy evolved out of a purely choral form. How do we know this? We know it from the earliest tragedies themselves. In the earliest tragedies, specifically those of Aeschylus, more of the play is sung or chanted than is spoken. Now, how do we know what parts were sung or chanted and what parts were spoken? The answer is the poetic meters that the playwright chose to write in. It is mentioned, Aristotle mentions, that the iambic meter, which is like Shakespeare's iambic pentameter, but soft what light through yonder window breaks, was used for the spoken dialogue because, as in English, in Greek, iambics were the meter that was closest to everyday speech. Now, there was a section of every tragedy which was an entry chorus, the song where the chorus entered, and this began with a march that was written in anapaests. An anapestic meter goes, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong. We will rock you, boom, boom, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak, strong. Queen wrote in anapaests. So I think you can hear that this anapaestic meter is very well suited to marching. So what I am doing with this translation is I am trying to stick as close as is possible in English to the original Greek meters. And then the composer, Michael Sirota, who has worked on La Mama's Great Jones Repertory's Greek productions, which are some of the most extraordinary Greek-inspired theater pieces that have ever been done, he will be setting the sung and chanted sections to music, and we are using the meters as a guide as to what sections to set to music. I'm going to read you a little bit of that anapaestic entry march that I mentioned. It's been 10 long-drawn years from when Priam's great foe, Lord Menelaus with my king Agamemnon, the firm league of the sons of great Atreus' house, sharing throne and joint scepter from great Zeus of the gods, did embark from this land 1,000 ships to command. And I hope you can hear the forward drive of that meter that is suited to a march. Now, another thing that another aspect of the production which is inspired by Greek original practice is the costumes. Our best evidence for what costumes were like in Greek tragedy is a vase painting of the cast of a satyr play. Now, satyr plays were parodies of tragedies and myths in which the tragic or mythic characters interacted with a chorus of satyrs. And in these plays, the tragic and mythological characters played it relatively straight. They acted as they would have acted in a tragedy or in one of Homer's epic poems. And we know that this vase painting is of the cast of a play because several of the characters are holding masks. Now, some of the figures in this painting are clearly satyrs. There are some who are wearing these very long robes with long fitted sleeves that have images painted or embroidered on the robes. And scholars have deduced that these would be the tragic or mythological characters from the satyr play. And there are references to Aeschylus inventing a grand robe for tragedy. So scholars assume these long robes with these graphic designs on them were the grand robe of tragedy that Aeschylus was supposed to have invented. And as you can see from the vase painting, these are far more interesting and far more theatrical than either the sleeveless robes and drapings, the Greek version of togas that you see in allegedly traditional productions of tragedies, and more interesting than minimal suggestive costumes or modern dress costumes. Another thing we're doing with the costumes is we are using makeup. We're doing this instead of using masks. What we want to get out of this is to have the sculptural severity of masks without hiding facial expression, while still keeping the facial expression. Now, the fact that Greek tragedy was originally done in masks helped the Greeks limit the number of actors used to 3. Greek tragedies were performed with 3 actors and a chorus, and the 3 actors played all the characters in the play. If you read any of the existing Greek tragedies, with one exception, I won't go into that, there are never more than 3 characters speaking at a time. And so they were able to do this multiple role-playing very easily because of the masks, and Greek tragedies had all-male casts. So the 3 actors would be men, and they would be playing both men and women. Now we're going to turn this not quite on its head, but kind of on its side. We are going to have 3 actors playing the principal roles, 2 women and 1 man. And one of the women will be playing a female role and a male role. The chorus, which is supposed to be made up of old men, will be made up of both men and women. So we are sticking with the Greek practice of having all the principal roles played by 3 actors, using something on the face to facilitate the change from one character to the other. And we're sticking with the Greek practice of gender bending, except we're not doing an all-male cast because, to be quite frank, I'm sick of all the all-male casts of Shakespeare that are going on right now, which seem to me just to be another way of denying women work. So, I hope that you will look at our website. I hope that you will be interested in the project, and I hope that you will help us make it happen.